Hi, this is Nichelle Nichols, and you're listening to TV Confidential. Aren't we all lucky?
Ed Robertson, along with Chuck Harter, and our guest, Robert Hooks. Robert Hooks, founder of the Group Theater Workshop in New York City, the D.C. Black Repertory Company in Washington, D.C., and the internationally recognized Negro Ensemble Company in New York City. Among the many notable alumni of the NEC, Negro Ensemble Company, are S. Apertha Murkison, Denzel Washington, Samuel L. Jackson, Felicia Rashad, Debbie Allen, Richard Roundtree, David Allen Greer, Esther Roll, Al Freeman Jr., Roxy Roker, Glenn Turman, Sherman Hemsley, Lynn Whitfield, Rosalind Cash, Cheryl Lee Roth, Denise Nicholas, and Lawrence Fishburne. You can follow Robert on Facebook, facebook.com/the Robert Hooks, his website, roberthooks.com. For more information on the Negro Ensemble Company, go to necinc.org. Chuck?
I've got two questions regarding film, so we'll do the first one. You were in Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. Any memories of that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I actually did not want to do the movie because I wasn't a Star Trek fan. Mm-hmm. But my son was, I guess, about maybe 7 at the time, and he heard me on the phone with my agent. And I said, Star Trek. You know, he said, Star Trek, Dad's going to do Star Trek. Dad's going to do Star Trek. He went running through the house saying, Dad's going to do Star Trek. Well, I had to do Star Trek. Mm-hmm. But doing it, I really became a Trekkie because, you know, well, first of all, Leonard directed it because he wasn't really in it because we were searching for him.
Right.
But he directed it, and we just became such good friends, and it was so wonderful doing the movie itself. The series, I never read it because I wasn't really a big fan until I did the movie, and then, you know, but I wasn't a fan of the television series at all. Just not, that's not my kind, it's not my cup of tea, but I had to do it. I told my agent, I said, okay, I guess I got to do Star Trek 3.
Well, of course, you mentioned your son. Your son, Kevin Hooks, gone on to become a very important filmmaker, and I understand one of your grandsons is also a filmmaker. That's got to make you proud.
That would be Kevin's son,
okay,
yes, Kevin's son. So there are 3 generations of Hooks filmmakers. Myself, Kevin, and then Michael, and Kevin's daughter is a producer on Queen Sugar, the series Queen Sugar. My granddaughter, Christiana, is a post-production supervisor and associate producer on that. And she was also, there was an Academy Award documentary called 13th. I don't know if you guys saw it, about the 13th Amendment, Ava DuVernay piece. Well, Christiana was also an associate producer on that. So Kevin has 3 kids. One's a producer, they're both producers, but one's a filmmaker, one's the producer, and then his youngest daughter, my granddaughter, is a lawyer, a working lawyer. So she'll probably end up as a lawyer in the industry. But yeah, Kevin is in Australia right now, producing and directing. He's got a new series coming on CBS this season that he produces, and he's directed a couple or 3 of them, but he produces the whole series. And it's called Red Line, and it's a Chicago series. I think the Red Line is the train thing. But anyway, I don't know too much about it, but it's done, and it'll be CBS. And keep your eye on Red Line.
And I dare say it's good.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, of course it's good. Please. Well, Robert, to just dwell on Kevin a little more, do you have a particular favorite effort that he has directed, one that you thought really went through the roof, in your opinion?
Yes, there are 4 of them, and the reason that I'm really crazy about talking about them because they were different than the stuff that he's done. Ron Howard has a series called Genius. And it's a series that's on, and this is the 3rd season they're going into, but they take one genius. The first one was Albert Einstein, and they shoot it in Europe. So each episode looks like a European film, It doesn't look anything like television here in America. Well, Ron Howard loved Kevin's work so much, he asked Kevin to come over to Budapest or Paris or wherever they were shooting. They shoot the whole thing on location. And the first 10 episodes, it's 10 episodes per season, about one genius. The first genius was Albert Einstein. The second genius, and they called Kevin back to do 2 of those, was Pablo Picasso. So the series, if you haven't checked it out, you've got to, and each episode looks so much like a foreign film. And to watch the work of your son, who you see him, I see all of Kevin's stuff, and it's all good. He's a good director and a producer as well. But to see him in a setting where he's directing in these Gothic kind of European settings, it's just a wonderful. And he's working with these actors that are all European actors, and it's just so wonderful to see your son break from the American television thing to go to do something like that. So yes, his Albert Einstein geniuses and his Pablo Picasso genius. So he's got 4 episodes. It's streaming, I think, but you can catch it. It's called Genius.
Yeah, I believe it's on History.
It is on, History Channel.
Yeah, History Channel. Did you encourage him to go into the industry? Did he come to that decision himself, or was it a little bit of both?
Kevin was a child star. Kevin was an actor at 9, as was I.
Oh, that's right. He did that thing. I know he did a thing called JT for CBS.
JT was his first, for CBS, was his first acting job, and he was just fantastic in it. And then, of course, Sounder was, he was a little older, but Sounder was also a classic. I mean, needless to say, it's one of the American classics now, Sounder. But he started out as an actor, and I always knew where to find him. I always knew where to find him. He was always behind the camera when I was doing NYPD. If I were looking, he would spend time with me on the set. But I would always know where to find him. He'd be behind the camera with the cameraman, learning the camera, and he was a little kid. So I knew that that's what he wanted to do. And of course, he was acting. He did The White Shadow, which was one of the series in the, I guess, I don't even know what the year was. But after White Shadow, Bruce Paltrow and Mark Tinker gave him the opportunity to direct. And that's when he started directing, right after he did The White Shadow. And I think his first television show was St. Elsewhere, the hospital show that he directed. And he's been directing and producing ever since. He's been producing for over 30 years, and he still looks 25. I'm serious.
Well, maybe one of your Trouble Man suits might fit him.
He's far past that. He could buy me a few suits right about now. Yeah, no, but I'm happy and proud that he's doing his thing. And like I said, he's been directing for 30 years. A lot of people don't know that, especially when they see him.
Yeah.
They think, well, this is a kid, He's been directing for 30 years. He just turned 60.
Wow.
And when I say that to people, they what? You mean JT, the kid that played JT? And Sounder? 60 years old.
Yeah.
So there.
Yeah, I got one to kind of wrap up, and Robert, this has been a gang of fun.
It has been. Sure.
You've been in the biz a million years. You've acted in many different mediums and so forth. With the wisdom of age and experience, what advice would you give to a younger person considering entering the acting profession?
Well, first I'd tell them to not do it if they are not going to be serious about doing it. You have to have a dream. You have to really have a dream to be successful in this business. And I would not discourage people from doing it because there's nothing like being an actor. But if you're not serious about it, it's going to be hard. And if you're not serious about it, and if you don't have that dream to hold on to, then you will never be successful. So I say, if you want to do it, God bless you, because it's a fantastic, fantastic profession. But if you're not serious, and if you don't have that dream to hold on to, then you shouldn't do it.
Okay, and let's say people who do have the dream and do it as an actor again with a lot of experience, what would you tell them to grow as an actor? What would you suggest?
Study all the time. Study. I get complaints about actors complaining about the British actors that are coming over doing American roles. And I say to them, can you go to England and do a British role?
Mm-hmm.
Can you do that? Because these people study. They study at the National Academy over there. They teach them not only do they teach them how to act as an American actor, but they teach them regional.
Yeah.
In other words, you can, if you want to do the South, you do the South. You want to do Chicago, and you see these actors now. They're studied. They know what they're doing. And yes, I would say to actors that want to be serious and get into this business, study and keep studying. And you cannot not study and be successful. You have to study.
Very much so. It's not unlike why professional athletes continue training to the extent they do in the off season, because you have to continue to rehearse or train in order to excel.
That's right. Study as much and as often as you can your craft.
Well, let me second what Chuck said. This has been an absolute blast to talk to you, Robert, and I hope we'll have a chance to talk to you again. And if you work on that book, let us know.
Well, I'm working on the book as we speak. As a matter of fact, I set this hour aside for you guys, and I'm going to go back it's the final draft, and
cool.
I would think another 6 months this thing's going to be done.
Fabulous.
Well, when it's done and when it's released, please keep us in mind. We'd love to have you back on again.
It would be my pleasure.
You can follow Robert on Facebook, facebook.com/the Robert Hooks. His website, roberthooks.com. For more information on the Negro Ensemble Company, go to necinc.org. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
If you haven't been listening to TV Confidential, this is who you're missing.
Ben Asner,
Connie Stevens, Dawn Wells,
Eric Braden,
Tony Camille,
Anson Williams, Don Most, Roy Finnis, Peter Marshall,
Sherry Alberoni,
George Slaughter, Dan Castellaneta, Taylor Hicks,
Lindsay Wagner, Loretta Swett,
And many, many more of your favorite celebrities and people behind the scenes in the world of television. That's TV Confidential. Every week on this station and every day online at televisionconfidential.com.
Alexa users, you can now listen to TV Confidential on your smart speaker just by saying, Alexa, play TV Confidential. Enabling the TV Confidential Alexa skill is easy. To find out how to do it, go to televisionconfidential.com/Alexa.
Hi, this is Michelle Lee, and you're listening to TV Confidential.
Ed Robertson with a reminder that the next edition of TV Confidential will premiere next week on the station at the usual time. Our guests will include actor, author, and longtime movie and television villain Patrick Kilpatrick. We hope you'll join us for that. In the meantime, a reminder that these are the Voyages, Gene Roddenberry and Star Trek in the 1970s, Volume 1, 1970 to 1975. These are the Voyages, Gene Roddenberry and Star Trek in the 1970s. Is available through our friends at jacobsbrownmediagroup.com as well as amazon.com, wherever books are sold online. You can follow Mark Cushman on Twitter at These Are Voyages, as well as markcushman.com. You can follow Robert Hooks at roberthooks.com, as well as facebook.com/the Robert Hooks. That'll do it for our program this week, folks. Ed Robertson, on behalf of Tony Figueroa, Donna Allen, Phil Grace, Greg Airbar, and our producer, Chris Corman, thank you so much for listening. We will talk to you next time on TV Confidential.